ECU, Private Nation, Purple and Gold family. Stand to your feet, put your crossbones up, and lean side to side. Yeah, and lean side to side. Yeah, and lean side to side. Come on, yeah. Welcome to the Island, man. It's crazy in here. A whole sea of purple and gold waving in here.
Welcome into the Sports Objective here on our Pirate Preview. And with us right now, the usual suspects, we have Kyle Barber. How are you, dude? Kyle from LaGrange.
What's going on, Dave? I'm getting an overlay here on the screen. Are we supposed to be seeing each other tonight or not?
Not at
later
the
on.
Later on. Right now, we have our first guest who is kind enough to take time out from dinner with his significant other. So we'll be talking to him in just a second. Bubba Rosenbaum, how are you, man?
Doing well, Dave. We had a baseball game tonight, and we were victorious, 7-6 winners. So it's been a great night so far.
Sounds good. Speaking of a great night, anytime you can have our good friend held hostage in the great state of Connecticut. I know he's a great pirate, and one of these days he'll be back in Greenville. What's up, buddy? How are you?
Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going? Thursday night, I'm starting to itch a little bit for college football Saturday. So excited to meet with you tonight and Kevin.
No doubt, Bubba. Very special guest. Great to have him on, and big game on Saturday, right?
Yep. Pirates headed out to TDECU Stadium. A lot of jokes have obviously been made about that. You have Houston 5-1, East Carolina 3-3. The Cougars are about a 2-touchdown favorite, just under. Last I saw was about 13. But I'm very excited right now to welcome in the ninth-year play-by-play voice for Houston, Kevin Eschenfelder. Kevin, how are you?
Are you guys
Kevin,
getting
how are
Kevin's
you?
audio? I'm not.
I'm not getting his audio as well. I see him in the backstage area, but I'm not seeing if we can. I don't know if he's on. He's not on mute though. Hey, Kevin, how are you? For some reason, I don't know if Kevin, you may have to sign out. And
Kevin, if you can hear us, sign out and sign back in. We're having some technical difficulties.
Technology at its finest.
Exactly. Well, guys, we're going to get Kevin here. Just great night. Anytime you can talk about Pirate football, very excited. By the way, folks, while we have a chance, the second half of the show, we're going to have a roundtable, if you will, about. We have 6 new conference members that I know Matt Simmons is very happy to, and Kyle have. We'll talk about that.
Hey, speaking of conference realignment at TDECU Stadium, Dave. This may be our only chance ever to win in TDECU Stadium. We have not played in their new stadium, and I believe this next year they'll be coming here. In 23, they're going to the Big 12. So
that's right.
All right, guys, we have Kevin back with us. Kevin, can you hear us now?
I can hear you fine. Can you guys hear me?
We got you.
Yes, sir. We got you.
Okay. All right.
Thank you so much for coming on and spending some time, a few minutes with us. I know you're out tonight, and big game on Saturday. Want to get your thoughts. Obviously, you've been around the program with now your 9th season, so you've seen a lot of good Cougs football, and you guys are looking red hot this year, 5-1. A great start.
Yeah, it's been a good start. It's really kind of flipped the switch at halftime against Navy. They were down, I think, 17 points at Navy, and then ever since then, it's been all systems go. They played really well. They've, with the wins over 2, they had back-to-back short weeks on the road, back-to-back wins. And, it doesn't matter who you play. It's who's on your schedule. And come away with big wins, put up big numbers. And the defense, I think, and this is something I tell people a lot, is, the best teams at University of Houston Everybody thinks about Andre Ware and Case Keenum and David Klingler and putting together all those, run and shoot big numbers. The best teams at the University of Houston were built on defense, and this is a very good defensive team tonight that you're going to see on Saturday against ECU.
Speaking of your defense, you guys, you're not very exotic, if you will, on defense. You play a lot of base, but you can still get to the quarterback. You still make a lot of things happen. You get a lot of sacks. Again, playing a lot of base defense, which means you got a really good front seven.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that, and that's just it. Is you don't have to sell out and put guys on islands to get to the quarterback, and that's what they've been able to do. And it starts with the pass rush. They've got two guys on the edge that are really, really good. And the guys, David Anini, number 12, and Derek Parrish, number 0. Those are two guys that have gotten to the quarterback a lot. But it starts with that push up front, and that's just it. They've got whether it's do you get a sack because you had good coverage, or do you have good coverage because you got a sack? Whatever the case may be, they go hand in hand. And right now they're playing really good against Tulane. The other night, it's been going to be 17, 18 days since they've played a game. Yeah, Houston hadn't played since a week ago Thursday. I know ECU had a week off, but so it's got to take me a while to remember back what happened in New Orleans. But they had 12 tackles for loss and 9 sacks in that game against Tulane. And they can get after the quarterback, and so if they can make ECU somewhat one-dimensional, which means get out to a good start, which they've outscored their opponents in the first quarter 73-7. That's been a big key for this University of Houston defense.
And Kevin, you talk about the way the Cougars get after the quarterback. 24 sacks. East Carolina, on the other hand, has struggled to protect Holton Ahlers a lot of the time this year, having allowed 22 sacks. So that's something that I'm really keeping a close eye on going into this matchup.
Yeah, that's something that each week is a different week, and the ECU is a good team and a well-coached team, and so they're obviously going to make adjustments. But that's been the strength of this defense, is being able to to put pressure on a quarterback, and it's something obviously that ECU has had trouble with. So if you're a Houston fan, you're thinking hopefully this is a trend that can continue, and if you're ECU, you're thinking if we have a chance to win this game on the road, then we're going to have to keep him upright and give him some time to make decisions. So we'll see how it plays out.
Kevin, any you mentioned being off 17 days or so. Any worry from the coaching staff about the offense coming out rusty? You want it. You enjoy an off week mid-season. You get to work on things, but there is such thing as having too much time off.
Yeah, it's funny because I was just literally I left just a few minutes ago the Dana Holgerson show, the radio show they do here locally, and I was talking to his director of football ops, and he said, "You guys, it's been 71 days since we had a day off," and so I said, "Man," because I told him, I said, I feel like we hadn't played in a month," and he goes, "It's been 71 days since we had a day off." So, whether I think rest over rust is definitely in a physical sport like football. I'll take the rest over rust any day of the week this time of year, and I think it comes at a good time for Houston. They were playing well. You didn't want to have that break, but you needed the break, and they got it. And hopefully they can pick up where they left off if you're a Cougar fan.
Kevin, looking at this Houston offense, Tune throwing for about a 70% completion percentage so far this year. Who are some of the weapons we should look out for at the wide receiver and running back position for Houston?
Nathaniel Dell is their leading receiver, and he's been really good. Jeremy Singleton has come on in a big way as far as the wide receiver spot is concerned. But they spread it around. It's not been, and that's been maybe a secret to their success, is that it's not been that one guy but Tank Dell, who's number 1, he's been their leading receiver, and he's been a go-to guy, and they've converted some big time third down and longs this season. They've been really good on third down, kept drives alive, stayed on the field. Defensively, they've gotten off the field. Those are two things. I think third down conversions and third down defense are two of the biggest stats you're going to find. But Alton Mccaskill, who has been probably one of the highest recruited, highest rated recruits to come into the University of Houston at running back, has been really good. He's a true freshman. This kid's 7 months removed from his senior prom, and he's been really good for them. I mean, he's had a nose for the end zone. He catches the ball out of the backfield. He runs. He gets north and south, and he reminds you a little bit. When you see him, he's kind of a Eric Dickerson body type. I'm not going to put him on that level, but certainly a bright future for that young man, and a very bright present, I should say, as well.
Kevin, while we're on the topic of, very quickly, Dave, third down conversions, East Carolina has really struggled with that offensively, converting just 27.5%, I believe it is, of third downs. Meanwhile, like you referenced, that Cougar defense is getting off the field at a tremendous clip. Opponents converting just 26% on third down.
Yeah, and that's you get the football back. Good thing last time I checked, you can't score without it. And if you can get it back, they can't score, and you have a chance to. So, it's pretty simple math, and you'd be able to come up with plays like that, and get guys off the field, get your defense off. Longer your offense is on the field, and they've been able to sustain drives too offensively, which rests the defense. And yeah, that's something. Again, it's another trend that I've looked at the stats and you kind of put that together, and you think that's got to continue, and on both sides if the Cougars going to be successful.
Kevin, I wanted to ask you about as far as Coach Hogerson. I know you just left that show, the radio show. Obviously, it looks like now the team is starting to finally, I don't know if you want to say buy-in, but they're certainly, you said the light switch. How are fans as far as the Cougs? How are the fans now with Coach? Are they happy with Coach, or are things a lot better? Even though it's 5-1, sometimes it takes a while for the fan base to. I guess for them to.
Well, last time I checked, fan is short for fanatic. So God bless them. It's always, you're always going to have those who want you gone, and there are those who love you. I think. I like Dana. I think he's the right man for the job, and I think Dana had a lot to build up. I always tell people this too. When Tom Herman took over this University of Houston program, who later went on to Texas, of course, took him to a Peach Bowl win over Florida State, and when Tom Herman took over this program, it was the cupboard was full. The guy before him had recruited great. He had a big guy named Tony Levine. He had an ability to see 3-star or to see 2-star guys that would play like 5-star guys or 4-star guys. And in the NFL, you look around the NFL, you'll see those guys that he recruited. And Tom Herman coached them up, and they were very, very successful. I think when Dana took over, I think it was kind of at the other end of that spectrum. He did not have as much, with all due respect to the guys that were there, he didn't maybe have as much base talent as he would have liked to have, and it took him a year, maybe 2, to build it up. And now he's got that in place, and he's hoping that he can reap the benefits of what he's been able to sow. And so, hey, right now they're playing well. They're a talented team. They're talented. They seem like they're well coached, and hoping to keep it headed in the right direction.
Kevin, as you look forward to the second half of the season here, just taking a peek at your schedule, obviously 2 tough matchups coming up over the next few weeks with ECU, and then a huge matchup on October 30th against SMU, who's ranked number 21 in the country and really rolling tonight over Tulane. Looks like every game on your schedule moving forward is very winnable. What would you say the odds are of this team possibly, finishing up as a 1-loss team at the end of this season?
It's so hard to say. I mean, just how it is being in the American Conference. You drop one, and then all of a sudden, what happens the next week? I mean, you got to take care of ECU first and foremost. I mean, that's a good football team, a team that Houston is not good enough, and Dana would mirror my sentiments. Houston's not good enough to look past anyone and look past ECU to SMU or anyone else. So, I mean, it's hard to say. I think there's a chance. There's obviously a chance that they play SMU at home. But you got to go on the road to play South Florida. I mean, South Florida is while the results have not shown as far as the record is concerned, that's a talented team. I mean, you got, each week is it's just a different dynamic in college football. You're dealing with 19 and 20-year-old kids, and you're hoping that, that goes the right way, but you just never know from week to week. So it's hard for me to put a percentage on what's going to happen down the road, but hoping for the best.
Kevin, now that we're looking at the bigger picture, obviously here over the last several weeks, news had broke with the Cougars headed to the Big 12 here in the coming years. So just talk about the vibe there in the city of Houston, the excitement surrounding the program. What have the crowds been like thus far at TDECU Stadium, and just all the excitement that has to be present with the Cougs headed to the Big 12?
I hadn't played a home game in about a month, so it's hard to put to kind of quantify that. But hey, people are excited about it. Obviously, moving to the Big 12, and we'll see how it plays out. Moving to the Big 12 means that's a great thing. That's great for the program, and it's great for a lot of different reasons, obviously. But at the same time, you got to keep building. And Tom Herman always talked about it. He goes, you know what? We don't have to. We need to be ready when they call, and that's what the University of Houston has done. They've built facilities. They've done things to get their program to a level where, when the Big 12 calls, they're ready to be there. And they still got some work to do, but you got to be competitive when you move to that next level. But yeah, that's at the same time, people I think are very excited. Todd Whitting, the baseball coach, is a good friend of mine. He was telling me how much different recruiting has become since the announcement was made, and I'm sure that's working the same with basketball and football as well as all the Olympic sports as well.
That very and obviously, Kevin, as you know, we cover East Carolina. This is a big wake-up call today, as you see when we saw you guys and UCF and Cincinnati move. But the reason why you guys are moving is that very thing. You've built a lot of facilities, and you guys have won. Look at Houston with the Final Four appearance. I mean, in basketball, we know the football stirs a drink, but basketball is obviously another big player. And so if East Carolina or anybody else wants to make it to the Power Five, they're going to have to improve their facilities, right?
It's like, how do you improve the facilities without, the money that comes from being in a Power Five conference? I get it. It's very difficult. Houston's been fortunate to be able to do those things without being in the Power Five conference. The American is a great conference, and I will always say that. And that's just it, though. You've got to be able to build it. And I know last time I was in Greenville, I mean, they were doing some renovations on the stadium, and things seemed like they were heading in the right direction, and I hope they continue to.
Now, Kevin, obviously basketball season is just around the corner. Last year, Kelvin Sampson's ball club making it to the Final Four. I heard, not surprisingly, with that type of success, the Cougs sold out in season tickets.
Yeah, it's they've done a great job of building that facility. Went from the old Hofheinz Pavilion, which was, well, I'll tell you, when I was in first grade, I saw Wilt Chamberlain play in Hofheinz Pavilion. It gives you an idea of what that facility was. It needed a renovation, and they got it. The Fertitta Center is what it is now. Tillman Fertitta, who is, he's done so much for this university. But it's an unbelievable place to watch a game. I don't know if you guys have been able to be down for any of the games, but it's a great place to watch a game. It's a great atmosphere. They've done a nice job of building it up and renovating it, tearing it down. I mean, they played over at Texas Southern University, which is right down the road, for a year as they built that program up. And Kelvin Sampson's one of the, he's one of the top 10 coaches in the country. And I'll take that to the bank any day of the week to see what he does. He doesn't have a bunch of one and dones. He builds a program. He's built a program. He started off there with 7 players. He would call timeout just to rest people, not because he had to break momentum, but he was going to build it the right way, and that's what he's done. And now you're starting to see the benefits of it, going to a Final Four a year ago.
Should be another great basketball season. I assume you guys are going to be with us for at least two more years. So, Kevin, it's going to be a lot of fun. We think a lot of Coach Sampson. I think he's done a tremendous job there at Houston, a great guy. Obviously, we like him a lot, being a North Carolina guy, not too far away from us. And one final thing I like about him is that community support. Every time I'm in Greenville and at Williams Arena, Minji's Coliseum, and I see sideline over there, the fact that they support their guy, being Lumberton, North Carolina, they drive up 95 and head over to Greenville and support Kelvin. So always respected it. I love him, and he's always been great to the media and great to the ECU fan.
Yeah, and I know his dad was a high school coach there for a long time. I know he's just because I know Kelvin well, and it's he's got a lot of love for that area. He hadn't forgotten where he came from.
No doubt. When it's all said and done, who wins the game on? We're gonna put you on the spot here before we let you go. I know you're out right now, so I appreciate the time tonight that you carved out for us. Who wins the game on Saturday afternoon?
Well, it's homecoming. They are honoring Case Keenum, who's playing quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. We're taping this, pulling back the curtain here. We're taping this on a Thursday night, but he's going to be flying in, and so it's going to be a big weekend. It's homecoming. They're going to be honoring the 2011 team that Case Keenum, the all-time leading passer at the University of Houston, one of the all-time leading passers in NCAA college football history. He'll be there. I like the Cougars. I just do. I think their defense has been so good. And defense, when you're really, really good defensively, you can fix problems if you get off to a slow start, if you're a little rusty on the offensive side. And I do like the fact that they've been able. I think it's a good matchup. They've been able to put pressure on the quarterback, and you flip the script, and ECU's had a little trouble taking care of the quarterback. I like the Cougars in this game.
All right. How can people listen to your call on Saturday afternoon? I guess on the TuneIn Radio app, or do you guys have your?
Yep, Varsity app, and then Varsity app and 950K, the iHeart Radio app as well. So yeah, it's all the way around 950 KPRC here in Houston, Texas.
All right, Kevin, we'll let you get back to your evening. Thank you so much for coming on with us, spend some time, and look forward to seeing the game on Saturday.
All right, man. Thanks, guys, for having me on. And hey, looking forward to coming to Greenville next year and get some more of that Carolina barbecue.
Oh, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Have a good night, man, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
No doubt about it. Appreciate him coming on, guys. Obviously, a big game on Saturday.
Dave, did you think you was going to take the Pirates?
I was wondering the same thing, Kyle.
Let me ask you a question. If Jeff Charles would ask that question in the Montgomery era, do you think that he would pick the Pirates?
No, but that's not the case. They're rolling. So I mean,
I know that, but
if anybody would have picked the Pirates in the Montgomery area, they would need it to be checked for heavy substance abuse.
I know. I'm just saying.
Unless we were playing UConn.
Exactly. Unless we were playing UConn. The game. Look, I'm going to go ahead and tell the fans now, and I am a fan, so I shouldn't say the fans, but the fellow fans. Look, this Saturday when we're running the John Brown football, that's because we don't want Holton to get sacked. So don't get up here and go, open up the offense. Yes, there is times for that, but what I do this game is try to establish the run early, and that way you can get some play action going. That would be my game plan. Now, who knows? We might come out and throw it all over the field. But this is one game I would try to establish the run early.
It's going to be interesting to see what we do offensively. You look at this Houston team, they do like to play a lot of base defense with a four-man front. A lot of times they will drop 7 into coverage. So I would think, we're going to have to establish some running game early, like you said, Kyle, because it's going to be tough to hit the deep ball against a team that's dropping 7 on most occasions. But I agree. We need to establish the running game. We need to establish some quick passes early, stretch the field a little bit, and try to get them off their mark a little bit so they can't just tee off on Holton.
Yeah, it's also a good
And I think
game.
that's fine.
Go ahead, Dave.
No, I was just going to say quickly that I hear what you're saying loud and clear, Kyle, and you're right about that. I also would say it's fine about I think it's fine about the run, but the issue would be creativity. In other words, if you're going to just keep running up the middle, or the same similar plays each time, I think that's one of the things the fan base is upset about. It's not necessarily that it's the run, like run versus pass. It's simply that have more creativity.
No, I agree. I also think this is a good game. You're trying to pull off an upset. You're on the road. You've had an off week. This would be a game
Yep.
I'd break out some trick plays. This would be a game where I might fake a punt. I would do all kinds of interesting things in this game. I think this is a good game coming off an off week. You had a chance to work on some gadget stuff. This will be a good game to do those kinds of things.
No doubt about it. With this, Bubba, what about the special teams for this between the two? We've seen John Young has had an amazing senior season, and I think Daffer is going to be okay. But what about for the Cougs? I haven't had a chance, to be honest. I haven't had a chance to really look at the special teams like I would like to at this point.
Yeah, taking a look at it, Houston's place kicker, Witherspoon, appears to have kind of been up and down. He's 5 out of 9. He does have one miss inside 40 yards, but 3 of his 4 misses are in excess of 40 yards. So he's kind of like Owen Daffer in that regard. I think Owen is something like 7 out of 9 now, and his only 2 misses are in excess of 40 yards. And then give me a moment. Their punter is tremendous. Lane Wilkins is averaging 46 yards per punt and has a long of 56, has pinned the opponent inside their 20 11 times.
Did y'all lose Bubba or just me?
I lost him there
Yeah,
too.
well,
Bubba, you cut out or you muted yourself? You didn't mute yourself.
No, I didn't mute myself. Can you hear me now?
Yep, we got you.
Yep.
All right.
yeah.
But yeah, very solid as far as their punter, averaging 46 yards per punt. And he's been extremely effective. Give me a moment. I was looking at the return phases. I had not had a chance to look at that already, but in the kick return game, they don't appear to have really generated anything there. Averaging less than 20 yards per return and with a long of 33 on the season. And then punt returns, and they have generated something. Marcus Jones has taken 2 to the house, including 1 for 73 yards, and is averaging 17.4 per return. So John Young needs to continue doing what John Young has been doing.
Get it out. From the outside looking in, this is a game that I really, early in the season, really up till the last 2 weeks, and I really analyzed the matchup, I thought we had a really good shot in. I still think we can win the football game, don't get me wrong, but as I analyzed things more, I saw how good Houston's defense is, particularly, as was mentioned earlier, in getting pressure on the quarterback and on third downs. And I don't like that. I don't like that matchup at all. So I'm not as bullish on the upset as I was a couple weeks ago. I looked at Houston's schedule, and that may have something to do with their stats, and they've played a very weak schedule. But the stats are a little scary, particularly anytime you can get that kind of pressure without having to bring the house and you're blitzing 3. That means you got a really solid front 7, and
And like you're saying, Kyle, that is kind of where I've been in terms of this matchup. Just with the way UCF was able to largely control the game with their front 4. Hopefully that will not be the case on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, because unfortunately, as well as our defense played against UCF and Tulane, I don't think our defense will be able to shut down Houston the same way. So if they shut our offense down, we may lose by a couple scores. But again, like I say, Houston has played a weak schedule. They are coming off of an extended bye period. East Carolina has played well off off weeks in the Mike Houston era. Note the Tulsa game last year. So we'll see what happens. I definitely ain't going to throw in the towel. I think we can win
it. No doubt, Matt. One of the things I was thinking about, obviously, because we love you being a part of this, our team here on the Sports Objective, is with this team is we've seen flashes of greatness, but how do you get that swagger? You guys, even as the fans, even as fans in the 90s, we were like, we're going to beat Miami in the Orange Bowl. We're going
to win.
Beat Miami. We're going to win this game. It wasn't like we might win. We're going to take it to whatever. It didn't matter whatever team. We had Alabama on the ropes in '97. I know it's not the Alabama of today, but it was still Alabama. We could start throwing out names of teams we beat. How does this team that we have now? I know people would say, Dave, it's unfair to compare eras, but
it's 98 against Alabama.
What's that?
98. Alabama.
I'm sorry, 98. Yes, thank you. Yeah, I apologize. 98. How do we get the that swagger back? Bringing sexy back. How do we get the swagger back with this team?
Well, it definitely starts with winning. This would be a huge opportunity for us to go down to Houston and win a game on the road against a team that's 5-1. But, more than anything, you have to have an attitude, and you have to basically approach this as a business trip where we're going down to Houston to win a game, and that's it. And, they put their pants on the same way we do every morning, and we need to go down there with some attitude and some swagger and take care of business. But it definitely starts with winning. I think that we are definitely, like I say, every week we're trending in the right direction, but we still need to have that breakthrough win. And if you can go down to Houston and beat this team that's 5-1, that would definitely set us up for a great second half of the season. So, we just need to take care of business. And, playing close, what's the old saying? Playing close is only good for horseshoes and hand grenades, right?
That's right.
We need to go down there and take care of business and win a game. We can't have another situation like UCF or South Carolina where we play close and then ultimately lose.
You said two things there that made me think of two great voices in sports history. One, they put their pants on the same way we do. They put their pants on the same way we do. Lou Holtz. And
Lou Holtz, there you go.
And then close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, McMahon. Jesse the Body Ventura.
That's right. Good call. That's what I think of. Every time I think of the UCF game, I think of horseshoes and hand grenades because we were too close and we should have won it.
I thought you were going to say you thought of Jesse the Body Ventura every time you think of the UCF game.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. We cannot afford to have a couple more games like that. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. It's time now to do something about it. A sense of urgency for this team.
Yeah, the Houston game, it's obviously a daunting task. You want to win it, and we can win it. But after the Houston game, the next two, USF, who is playing better football, they're not winning. They're playing better football. And then Temple after that, those are must wins. If we're going to make it to a bowl game after Houston, we got a short week. We got to turn around and play South Florida next Thursday night. That is a must-win game, guys. It is critical. I mean, we're not throwing in the towel against Houston, but as we sit a week from the night, that's a must-win. And even if we beat Houston, it's a must-win because if you take care of business against Houston, you damn sure don't want to wind up losing to South Florida on a short week. So, to me, these next two after Houston are the keys to the season. South Florida and Temple.
About it. I mean, you look at it, and guys, people may laugh at me, but I think every single game on the left of this schedule, all six of them are winnable. The Cincinnati is the least winnable game, obviously, but you know what? 48 ranked teams, even as Coastal Carolina, they were the 48th team that was ranked this season that went down. So if there's any year that there's any kind of parity, it would be this year, and why not? And Matt, you know, as a competitor, Bubba, if you don't think you can win, there's no reason in the world to put on the helmet. There's no reason to put on the pads. If you think you're going to lose the game, there's no reason to walk out there and play the game. Let's take a look at we have a graphic Bubba did. Thank you, Bubba, for the series. We'll put that up on the screen for those watching. Certainly, I know Bubba. We're going to break it down.
You take a look at this series. This is 15th matchup between the Pirates and the Cougars. 7-7. 7 for the most part, at least all the victories coming at Robertson Stadium, if I recall correctly. You know, we have not played much at TDECU Stadium. I think this will just be the second game there, Kyle.
I was thinking it was the first, but you may be right. It may be.
Remember, we had that game under Mo where Gardner Minshew threw the ball probably about 70 times.
Somebody's vibrators on.
But
that's a whole other show. What kind of show are we running here? What kind of show are we running here?
Kyle, only you.
Kyle, I thought you would kick that habit. I'm disappointed in you.
Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do.
But one of the just going back and looking at some of the games in this series, Dave. Some tremendous ball games, and the first meeting Matt was a part of, I guess, in 1997, right, Matt? You had the Pirates had gotten off to a 1-5 start that year, or at least 2-5, 1-5, 2-5, and then won 4 straight before losing the season finale at NC State. But Dan Gonzalez and company, y'all went down there to Robertson Stadium and were victorious 28-27.
Yep, that was a wild game, man. That was it was a tiny little stadium we played in. That was my memory of it. Almost felt like a high school stadium. But it was a wild game, and we were able to get out of there with a win. So yeah, but no doubt about it. A lot of great back and forth games in this series, and I expect this one to be about the same.
Yeah, that time, Matt, Robertson Stadium hadn't been. They ended up expanding it before they tore it down. But Houston would play some games there at that time and some games in the Superdome. And the East Carolina game was played there that year.
Astrodome.
Say again?
Astrodome.
Oh, yeah,
Astrodome.
I get to playing in the Superdome would be kind of goofy, wouldn't it? Playing in the Astrodome, yes. But, yeah, so the series has been competitive. There's been a lot of great games in this series, actually. You mentioned the 97 game. There's the conference championship game in 09.
Hey, talk about a game that will piss you off, Kyle. You and I have talked about this.
God,
I think we're both in attendance on that 98 game where the Pirates couldn't make an extra point.
Halloween night. Actually was not in attendance. Halloween night, 1998. Matt, were you playing in that game?
I was not playing in that game. That was the year after I left.
Okay. Yeah, Halloween night, 1998. Missed a field goal in that game. Had a touchdown called back. A lot of things went wrong in that game. No, I was not at that game, Bubba. I was at home watching that game on TV, and I broke a bar stool at my dad's house watching that game. So,
did you go to jail for that?
I did not. My dad did not call the law. But yeah, okay. I did. I was.
I know Frankie. I know Frankie Barber, man. He loves the bar stools.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I don't blame you, Kyle. Those games like that, and like the last game with UCF, guys. I had a question for you.
Hey, wait a minute, Dave. I got a segue. Speaking of Barstool, Barstool Sports, Louisiana Lafayette has a Barstool Sports site, and they are talking about East Carolina to the Sun Belt. I don't know if that's just something they've made up on their own, but they posted something to the effect of let's get Southern Miss Marshall, James Madison at East Carolina in here and get this thing done.
I haven't. That's the first I have not.
I know. Hey, look, I'd much rather be playing Marshall, Southern Miss, Appalachian State than the goofballs we're going to be playing. And Coastal Carolina too. I mean, I have utterly no interest in playing Charlotte. No interest at all.
I mean,
UAB and Florida Atlantic, I'm okay with. UTSA kind of is what they are. They're good right now. See how long that'll be. But I mean, I sent something to. Well, I think it was just I meant to send it to the whole group, but I think I sent it to Dave and Bubba about the records Florida Atlantic, North Texas, and Charlotte have had this decade or this century since the year 2000. Charlotte, obviously, they hadn't been playing football that long. But
now, Kyle, Matt's fired up about the 49ers.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, so Matt, you would rather you would rather stay in the American than go to the Sun Belt because of the financial benefit, or what?
Yeah. So obviously, listen, the idea of playing Charlotte is really makes me sick to my stomach. I won't sugarcoat it. It makes me sick to my stomach. And the last thing I want to hear is just because we're in the same state that Charlotte is some rival of East Carolina, because I will never, ever acknowledge that rivalry if that's what they want to call it. So I'm saying that right up front. But yes, to answer your question, Kyle, for the financial benefits, if we're able to maintain a $7 million TV contract through 2031, which I believe that's the case.
That's what everybody's saying.
That's what they say.
The incumbent members.
You know, I think that almost puts you in a situation where you have to stay. And then, you know, I was actually messaging with you guys earlier today. I'm not sure if it's even a remote possibility, but I do think the best thing for this new revised American Conference would also be to allow non-qualifiers. So, again, I don't know if that's going to happen. It might be just me dreaming on this end, but I do think in order to be competitive, you know, in spite of the, you know, the gap financially between, you know, the P5 conferences and now the American, I think that would go a long way. So I think it's really just for the financial benefits. But trust me, the idea of playing, you know, in North Texas, I mean, come on, that's just there's no appeal there for the average East Carolina fan.
No, there's not, and that's why. And I agree with you. If the $7 million thing is true, and it's been reported by Yahoo Sports and other people, the incumbent members only will receive $7 million through 2031. The new members are going to see $2.5 million from the TV deal. So yeah, I get it. And the exit fee would be $10 million supposedly. I guess you know. I just look at the Sun Belt and you know we have a rivalry with Southern Miss. We have a rivalry with Marshall. Appalachian State could become a rivalry again easily. Coastal Carolina, if they continue to win, could become a rivalry. It's just and then Matt, I don't know how much of a baseball fan you are, but the Sun Belt is going to be one of the best baseball leagues in America. With the addition of Southern Miss, they already have Coastal, they already have Louisiana Lafayette, they already have South Alabama, all top 25 baseball programs. You put East Carolina in there, I mean, there's no way it wouldn't be a top 4 baseball conference. So I think the Sun Belt would be a lot more fun than the American, just not as financially beneficial. I agree with you 100% on non-qualifiers. I've been banging that drum for years. We need to quit pretending we're something we're not. We are not a Power 5 conference, so quit pretending like you are. They have advantages over us financially, and just by having that status. So we need to take any advantage we can get, and that is something we can do that they can't. It's an old Big East rule not to take non-qualifiers. Rules can be changed. Allow us to take non-qualifiers.
Well, here's another thing. Here's another thing, Kyle. I'm going to segue. Matt, we haven't had a chance to talk to you about this, I don't think. But here's the deal. Okay, I agree with y'all 100%. So let me just say that I'm not really happy with selections. Having said that, the one thing I will say, we can't worry about, you know, I know this sounds like coach speak, Matt and Bubba. We can't worry who we play. But what we need to focus on is East Carolina. We need to focus on, Kyle, I'm going to pitch this to you because this was your baby. But the deal is very simple. Instead of worrying about North Texas, and I agree with you, I'm not trying to like defend them or why we picked the teams and all that. They went, Kyle, first of all, your point of they went with markets against the good football, which was a mistake. Number one, I am happy that it looks like we're going to keep the same amount of money or close. So that's a great thing for the American. We could be dropping down to like 2 million. So I'm happy about that. But guys, the one thing, Kyle, and I want to pitch it to you about goals because he had that idea. and I don't want to take his credit for something he said. But we need to today. When I was listening to that press conference, I had Kyle Barber in my ear going, "We need to have a goal, Dave. We need to have a goal." So I can pitch it to you, Kyle, because I've been waiting all night to bring this up.
Yeah, no, what you're talking about is something I talked to you about off the air, and
Yep.
If I was the athletic director of East Carolina, and this fan base is pissed off, we don't like what's happened with the additions. The fan base has been fractured for a while now. Anyway, you're trying to bring them back together. If I was the athletic director, I'd have a press conference tomorrow and say, "Look, our goal is not to be in the American Conference. Our goal is not to play Charlotte. Our goal is not to play North Texas. Our goal is to get to where UCF, Cincinnati, Houston are. Where did they come from? They came from the American Conference. That's where we are now. We can go where they are. What we have to do is do what they did. We have to dominate this conference. We have to win. We have to win big. We have to expand infrastructure. We need to build an indoor practice facility. We need to upgrade the facilities we have in place now. We need to expand the Pirate Club. And most of all, we need to win on the football field. Our goal is to be in the Big 12. The Big 12 will add more schools. There will be more movement. In the next 5 to 10 years, when that movement happens, we need to be in position to go to the Big 12. Operation Big 12 starts now. We were behind last time. We can't let it happen again. Previous administration got us in a bad situation by making bad decisions. It is my responsibility now to make good decisions, to put us in a position to get in the Big 12 when they expand again, because it will happen. Operation Big 12 starts now, Pirate fans, and we need your support. We need to grow the Pirate Club, and the goal is to get in the Big 12. That's what should be being said instead of just sitting there twiddling your thumb. East Carolina always does better when there's a goal. When we were fighting to get in the Big East, look what we did. We won Conference USA twice. When we were fighting to get in Conference USA, Matt, we won the Liberty Bowl Alliance twice. So we always do better when there's a goal. Right now, what is the goal? Is the goal to be competitive in the American? We should have been competitive in the American since day one. We were competitive in the American day one. When Ruffin McNeil was here in 2014, we almost won the damn conference. We went down. We were there. We didn't have to get competitive. We were there. We had piss poor decisions that took us from being competitive into being the utter shits. We wouldn't have been competitive in the MAC. Now we're having to climb our way out of a hole we dug for ourselves because of poor leadership. And the current leadership, it's not bad. It's just not existent. They're just there. John Gilbert, look, you're not a bad guy. I don't hate you. You're not Jeff Confer. I don't want to run you out of town on a rail. But come on, son. Let's get some giddy up in our step. Let's put some bass in our voice. Let's have our balls drop. Let's get out there and say our goal is to get in the Big 12. Put your goals out in front of everybody. Shoot for the moon, and you might miss and hit the stars. I mean, if we don't make it, if we try and we don't succeed, we're going to be where we are now. So why not try?
You have nothing
Kyle,
to lose.
I think that was the greatest rant in radio history right there. So I'm just going to shut up and let you keep going because that was awesome.
No, well, you're right about that.
Go ahead,
you're right about that. Hey, look, Matt, think about this. The 4 guys on this show right now, we can get in a conference room or in our living rooms, and we could say, all right, we need to get the architect to design the plan. And this is what I heard, guys. I heard there's rumblings right now in the Ward Sports Medicine building. 2 sources I have told me that they're going to unveil this plan in January. Well, that's fine if we have a bowl game or whatever. But, think about it. After a day like today, we need to get this ball rolling. We got plenty of people out there right now where they can give $100, $1,000, $1 million, whatever. We can raise the money. I was telling one of our friends, Pirate Al, tonight, we can raise the money quickly with this indoor practice facility.
Well, the biggest thing we need to do, Dave, is grow the Pirate Club to have more money to get people from.
Yep.
The Pirate Club keeps shrinking, and we're doing nothing to grow. What are we doing to grow the Pirate Club, Ryan Robinson? And I'm not blaming Ryan because it was shrinking before he got the position. It's been shrinking for years, and we don't do a damn thing. Terry Holland wanted to put that thing directly under his operation where he was watching over it years ago, where it was directly a part of the athletic program, not its own entity, and that's what should have happened. But because of Walter Williams and some other people, and God bless Walter, he did a lot of things for East Carolina, but towards the end, he did more harm than good. And if that
Roughing
pisses some
me up.
people off that's watching, so be it. But you got to grow the Pirate Club. And I don't know what we're doing to grow it. What are we doing to grow the Pirate Club to get more donors so we can build that indoor practice facility?
Well, I tell you what's happened. I tell you exactly what's happened, Matt, is when Dave Hart mentioned that we had to have Pirate football healthy, right? The bottom line, there's a lot of guys right out now that they're doing stuff around their house. They're going hunting. They're going fishing. Those were the guys that we used to have coming to the ball games. Those were the guys that we had season ticket holders. And under Montgomery, they said, I need to do that roof project. I need to do that blah, whatever. The honey-do list, they didn't mind as much because they didn't want to drive to Greenville, spend a whole bunch of money, and watch us lose 64-17. Okay. And the biggest thing right now, we're selling hope. And if Pirate Nation sees that we do the upgrades to obviously the stadium and mainly the indoor practice facility and of course with Williams Arena, and look at Cliff Godwin, we have a top 10 baseball program. The guy says he wants locker rooms for former players. He wants a weight room. There's a few things he wants. Give the guy what he wants. I'm not an agent I don't get paid from Cliff Godwin, or Mike Houston wants an indoor practice facility. Why is that so hard? That's the one thing that I'm frustrated about.
The football program needs an indoor practice facility, regardless if it's Mike Houston or Skip Holtz or whoever the head coach is. It doesn't. It's something that's desperately needed. I mean, literally, App State has one, Coastal's building one. It's embarrassing at this point that we don't have one. And guess what, guys? You can't even swing the American flag now and say, "Hey, look, we have this over Coastal and App," because the perception now is the Sun Belt's just as good as the American. So we better get to building and make sure we are staying competitive with the Joneses. And by the way, it should be App and Coastal trying to be competitive with us. It shouldn't be us trying to be competitive with them. I mean, we have lost the plot, and we better get it back.
No doubt. I think, when you look at our fan base, you're always going to have the 10 to 15,000 fans that are going to show up in the stadium, regardless of what's happening. Win or lose, you're going to have the diehard fans. But I think we've lost the casual fan. Like Dave said, that maybe the fan who's a little undecided, should I go to the game today or should I go out on my boat in the Outer Banks? Right. I think we've lost a lot of those casual fans. The only way to get them back is to win. And not only, it can't just be a win here or there. It needs to be consistent winning over a period of time where you start to develop a winning culture and a winning program like we used to have. So I'm gonna focus on the positive, for a minute, and that I think that when you look at the second half of the season, Mike Houston has a huge opportunity in front of him. The only game you really see on this schedule, the second half, that appears to be unwinnable is the Cincinnati game, right? Every game, including this week against Houston, this is a winnable game, guys. I'm telling you right now. I don't care what the spread is. It's 13 points according to Las Vegas. That's fine, all right? But this is a game we can go down to Texas and we can win if we protect the ball. If we score in the red zone, we have to score touchdowns in the red zone. And we come out with emotion. That's the biggest thing. Come out with emotion and play inspired football. We can do that. We can take care of business. And then, even when you look at the Cincinnati game, a lot can change over the course of, 5 or 6 weeks in college football. They could have injuries, right? You never know what can happen. So, but it needs to start this week at Houston. And we can't have any more excuses. We can't have any more playing close games where we lose by 3 and woulda, coulda, shoulda. Maybe if we didn't turn the ball over on the 15-yard line, we could have won. It has to end this week.
Yeah.
Guys,
go ahead, Dave.
Guys, we had a chance to be on the Zoom call today with Commissioner Resco, and I know, Bubba, you have a video of Resco, and we're going to take a look at the video, and then we're going to come back and comment on him.
Yeah, that full video is available on our YouTube channel. Commissioner Resco's comments, as well as answering questions from the media. And there were, I want to say, 150 to 200 people on this call. It was a very large turnout, as you would guess, with six new members, and you had the athletic director from each one of those institutions. So again, go to our YouTube channel and check out everything in its entirety. It's right around an hour long. But right now we have some of Commissioner Oresco's initial remarks as he began the Zoom. Check out these 3 minutes worth right here.
These institutions very much want the opportunity that our conference will provide. They'll enjoy the unmatched exposure and promotion provided by our outstanding media partner, ESPN. And that has been critical to our growth over the years. And they'll also enjoy network basketball broadcasts as well on CBS Sports. They do some select network broadcasts, and they're another valued partner. These schools make great sense for us from many different perspectives. A geographical sense, clearly, by virtue of their location in major cities that add to our extensive media footprint. We'll have a significant presence in 4 of the top 10, 7 of the top 25, and 12 of the top 51 media markets. And we've seen firsthand in cities like Philadelphia, Dallas, Houston, and Memphis, the kind of impact that occurs when a city gets behind our teams and when you get the media attention that these metropolitan areas and the surrounding areas provide. The geography makes sense from a practical standpoint as well. In all of our sports, our schools will find conference opponents in close proximity, with 4 schools in the state of Texas, 2 each in Florida and North Carolina, as well as other areas in the Northeast and Mid-South. We look forward to the renewal of some longstanding rivalries and the development of new rivalries. And we've done very well with the development of new rivalries. You've seen that in our conference. Schools that may not have had a lot in common or played each other before developed some really intense rivalries and some great, cooperation in our conference. That's what we've been about. Again, we think that there'll be great interest among the student athletes, alumni, and fans. We think the fan bases of these schools will be energized. And obviously, we're very pleased that we have such a strong presence in such key states as well. I'm very confident that individually and collectively, these schools are going to have great success in the American. They have had success where they've been, and now I think they have a chance to elevate that. They'll add to this conference's legacy of success. I think they will definitely, as I mentioned, take great advantage of the exposure and the platforms that are going to be provided by this conference. So we look forward down the road, and we're not certain when they're going to come in yet. That's still to be decided. They are now, officially members of our conference, but they cannot begin play right away. But we look forward down the road. We know we'll be celebrating the success of these schools and all 15 of our programs. We're poised to enter the next decade now with a vision and with renewed strength. Our A6 campaign, Autonomy 6 campaign, our Power 6 campaign is going to be energized. It's not going away. And I want that to be really clear. The future is very bright. We feel that this conference can reach heights that we haven't reached before, even though we have done extremely well. We think that we can even take it to another level. I want to close by congratulating and welcoming our new members. We're just absolutely thrilled that you're with us. And I want to thank the media and our fans for their interest in us. And we'll now go, Chuck, I'm going to send it back to you because I know we want to hear from our individual ADs, and then we'll open it up to questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Indeed. Thanks, Mike. And we'll begin with our ADs. We'll begin with
All right, that was Commissioner Oresco at lunchtime. That would be noon Eastern, 11 Central Time, depending on where you are, guys. And just want to throw it around the horn. I have my thoughts, but I want to get you guys' take on what's your thoughts on hearing that clip of the remarks from Commissioner Mike Oresco from the American.
Well, it was choppy on my end. I don't know about everybody else's, but from what I could hear, what else is he going to say? If he'd have got out there and said, we made bad decisions. We should have took other teams. Look, the whole metropolitan talk, media market talk, at the beginning of it made me want to throw up. But it is what it is. I hope he's right. obviously, because that's good for the conference and it's good for East Carolina. Unfortunately, I don't think he is. I think if you look at the ads, UTSA, they got a top 25 football program. They're the only show in town outside of the Spurs. They only have to share the dome with the Spurs. I think UTSA has a big upside. I think UAB's all right. They've been playing football for a while now. I know when Matt was playing them, or if he even played them, they were the new kids on the block. They've been around now. They just built a new football stadium. They're playing in now. They've got a good program. UAB's an okay ad, and I don't have a problem with Florida Atlantic. I think they got a huge upside and a lot of money, and they've been investing money into facilities and into football. The three I don't like Charlotte. I hope somebody asks their athletic director if they plan to expand that hole in the ground they dug to at least 25,000 instead of 15, because that's embarrassing to be in a program with a 15,000 seat freaking football stadium. North Texas has been utter garbage pretty much the whole time they've ever played football, with the exception of some good years in the Sun Belt. And Rice, you got good academics, Rice. What else can I say for you? Those three I don't understand the ads at all. Like I said, UAB, Florida Atlantic, UTSA is fine. I would have brought in Southern Miss, Marshall, and Appalachian instead to go along with the three I named that are okay. Not excited for Charlotte, North Texas, or for the love of God, Rice. Can somebody please, I'm begging you right now, sell me on Rice. Matt, Bubba, one of you two, I beg you to sell me on Rice.
Houston market.
Well, they don't even have the Houston market.
I would never even attempt to sell you on Rice because it's such a nondescript program. I mean, there's nothing appealing about adding Rice. You know, I'll tell you guys, like you listen to Mike Oresco's comments, and he's doing what he needs to do. He's the commissioner of the league. It's almost like a politician, right? He's front and center. He's trying to spin the positivity of the day by adding these programs. But
Yep.
You could put lipstick on a pig, but at the end of the day, it's still a pig. And I think that that's what we have here a little bit today. I mean, how do you possibly justify adding a Charlotte over an App State? As a fan, where would you rather travel to watch a football game? I mean, obviously, I think 10 out of 10 people will tell you they'd rather go to Boone to watch, ECU play App State. So, the two, I guess, the thought process on this is market versus actual competitive football programs who can fill a stadium. I think that, obviously we know what Mike Oresco did here. He went after the market, but I'm going to ask you guys, who do you think is really making that decision? Is that Mike Oresco or is that ESPN?
I think it's both. I think ESPN dictated a lot of this, but from what I understand and what they dictated is we took teams from Conference USA. We left the Sun Belt alone, supposedly, and I don't know if I believe that, but we could have took one Sun Belt team with App State. Like I said, you could have done both. You could have done markets and good football. You could have got that Birmingham market. You could have got the San Antonio market. And you could have got the Boca Raton market. And that's three good markets, and then brought in Appalachian, Marshall, and Southern Miss, and brought in three good football teams. You could have done both, but instead they went all markets. And I'm going to be honest with you, Bubba, you live in that area. Who's got a bigger piece of that Charlotte market, Appalachian or Charlotte?
I know the answer to that.
Yeah, I definitely say Charlotte. You saw the type of turnout they had for that season opener.
You mean App State has, right?
Yeah, the type of turnout that App State had for that season opener against the Pirates at Bank of America Stadium, when there was between 37 and 38,000 on a Thursday night at that. Very representative crowd, and obviously the more Mountaineers there than Pirate fans, and that it just boggles my mind. Like, because even going and looking at the athletic budgets, I mean, they're very, very comparable at App State to Charlotte. I don't know the exact numbers, but it's not a whole lot of difference. You have a proven commodity in
30
Boone,
million?
where you have App State having won 4 out of 5, and who knows after this year, maybe 5 out of 6 Sun Belt titles, and I think that points to the pull that ESPN has in this. Because if not, then what in the world are people thinking? And that's not to say, I mean, Will Healy's done a nice job at Charlotte. That program is improving, but there's no comparison there. I don't know why anyone in their right mind, unless they were being swayed by other parties and the financial factor, would not want App State over the 49ers.
Yeah, it makes no sense. And like I said, here's what you would have done if you'd have done the scenario I just played out. You'd have brought in with UAB and Florida Atlantic, I believe 2 of the last 4 Conference USA champions. If you'd have brought in UTSA, you'd have probably brought in this year's Conference USA champions. So that's fine. That's 3. And now you brought in Marshall and Southern Miss. You got Legacy, 2 great football programs. And then you bring in App State. You bring in 4 out of the last 5 champions with them. But instead, the good teams that were brought in, the UTSA, the UAB, the Florida Atlantic, are now being completely overshadowed by the garbage we don't want. Nobody wants Charlotte. Nobody wants Texas. And the only thing Rice has is academics. They don't even have baseball anymore. Their baseball's going to hell.
Hey, by the way, guys, Bubba, I know you want to pitch that. Pitch it. Let me make a. I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead and. I have another thing I want to throw around the yard, so to speak.
Did anybody ask Charlotte's AD if they're going to expand their football stadium?
I was at work. I wanted to. I wanted to ask him so bad, but I didn't want to get in trouble, so I was very quiet. I
was obviously at work as well, so I was unable to ask some of the questions I would have liked. But speaking of the Charlotte 49ers, Mike Hill, one of the 6 ADs, addressing the media this afternoon, and let's hear the opening comments of Charlotte AD Mike Hill talking about joining the American.
Susan DeVore, we just want to thank everyone who was involved in this process. We're grateful certainly to Commissioner Mike Oresco. Mike and I have known each other for a long, long time, back to our days when I was in the SEC at the University of Florida, and he was at CBS. And I've always admired the job that he has done and this league has done in constructing itself in a way that has been a major player on the competitive landscape, no question about it. So we're thankful for this opportunity. Charlotte is one of the fastest growing cities in the country, and this university mirrors our city. We talk about it a lot as an emerging brand in an exploding market. Our university is now the 3rd largest in the state, 2nd largest undergraduate enrollment. And during the pandemic, we have set enrollment records. We've had record freshman classes the last 2 years. We have over 30,000 students now. 80,000 alumni live within an hour of the city, and 150,000 living alumni. So this is an institution that is on the rise. It's the fastest growing in the state. Over the past decade, it's been responsible for almost 40% of the entire UNC system growth and enrollment. So we feel that our athletic program is mirroring the growth of our institution academically and represents all that this place is about. We talk often here at Charlotte about gold being the standard. We're 49ers, and gold is a standard here. And we feel that this affiliation with the American is certainly going to elevate our program and provide a platform for us that we can really tell our story and allow our student athletes to compete at the highest level. And we're just grateful for that opportunity. So thank you again for the opportunity here, and we look forward to answering questions later in this session.
Thank you, Mike. We'll go next now to the Vice President and Director of Athletics.
That's the Athletic Director of Charlotte, Mike Hill. And guys, first of all, with all due respect to the Athletic Director, our enrollment and Charlotte's enrollment goes back and forth. So it was nice for him to mention that today, and he was spending that being the 3rd largest. But having said that,
Dave, can something to the robbery.
Yeah, regardless of that number, he referenced 80,000. I want to say that was the number, 80,000 living alumni in the greater Charlotte area. But with all those tens of thousands of alums in this area, and then you have obviously all the other millions of people in this greater Charlotte area. Now, why were they only able to put 13,100 into Jerry Richardson Stadium for their first ever home game against an ACC opponent?
Yeah, exactly. The same week in App State and East Carolina packed Panther Stadium there on Thursday night. They couldn't even put 15,000 seat. They couldn't even put 15,000 people to play Duke. And by the way, they call their stadium Club Lit. I call it Club Shit. Club Lit. It dug a hole in the ground. You know how you know when you dig a hole in the ground for? You dig a hole in the ground to bury shit. And that's what Charlotte football is. And you can go ahead and you can put out the bulletin board, and you can use that for rivalry material if you want to. But it ain't no rivalry. It's just what I think of. It's just what I think of Charlotte and their goofy athletic director. He makes John Gilbert seem exciting. What in the world?
The cannon has been fired.
Shots fired.
And by the way, and I'll keep on. Have y'all noticed the side of their helmet that says CLT? CLT. That's one letter away from something. That's one letter away from something. But anyway, it is what it is.
I'm going to tell you guys my biggest problem with Charlotte, beyond the obvious, which they're just not a very good football team, and they don't even come close to filling their stadium. My biggest problem as an ECU alumni is that they haven't earned their way.
Boom.
We've been playing football for a long time. We have a history.
1932.
Thank you, Dave.
Established 1932.
There's a hit. Thank you. Exactly. Great history there. We have big wins. We've worked our way up through the process over many, many years. And let's face it, Charlotte, if you took away the market, where would they be? The only reason why they're getting into this conference is because of the market. So that's tough to see, as somebody who, going back, to our days, even as an independent, we're playing the likes of Auburn and Tennessee and Virginia Tech on a weekly basis. And now being in the same conference with Charlotte just doesn't sit well with me at all. And having talked today I actually spoke with two former coaches today, guys who I won't mention their names on air, but very well-respected guys who have a great history at East Carolina. We're very, very frustrated by the news today to add these programs. So it is what it is, but it doesn't mean it has to be popular.
I talked to one of your coaches today, Matt, and I don't think we can put on one of your coaches today. Well, I'll tell you off air. He was not happy for the very reason of what the legacy, you got that very thing. You guys put a lot of hard work in, and rightfully so. You guys have a lot of bragging rights in the 90s, and he had a lot to say about those teams, how that thing with Charlotte and the different ones, and you don't even need, Bubba's right. You don't even need to talk about athletic budgets and market stuff, because guess what? You made the great point there, Matt. Guess what? Charlotte does not bring the Charlotte market. It's going to be App State. It's going to be East Carolina. And wait a minute, the ACC. That's what brings the Charlotte market, not Charlotte.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that
what that reminds me of?
One of the things that always kills me about let's go to the Philadelphia market, the Charlotte market, all these large cities, Dallas. I don't care how many millions of television sets are in those markets. If they're not turned to those products, then what difference does it make? Do you really think East Carolina's market is Greenville? Do you really think that Clemson's market is Clemson? Do you really think that Florida's market is Florida? Do you really think that Florida's market is Florida? Do you really think that Florida's market is Florida? Do you really think that Florida's market is Florida? Do you really think that Florida's market is Florida? Do you really think that Florida's market is Florida? Do you really think that Florida's market is Florida? Do you really think that Florida's market is Florida? Do you really think that Florida's market is Florida? Do you really think that Florida's market is Florida? Do you really think that Florida's market is Florida? Do you really think that Florida's market is Florida? Do you really think that Florida's market is Florida? Do you really think that Florida's market is Florida? Do you really think that Florida's market is Florida? Do you really think that Florida's market is Florida? Do you really think that Florida's market is Florida? Do you really think that Florida's market is Florida? Do you really think that Florida's market is Florida? Do you really think that Florida's market is
Do you really think Auburn's market is Auburn? Are you kidding me?
Well,
That's cool.
one
It's a
point
huge town.
I always made about market is something that I think a lot of people forget. To me, when you look at a market, you don't even need to look at how many fans the school has or how many alums. You got to look at who else cares. I can guarantee you, NC State and UNC don't give a crap about what Charlotte does. But UNC, NC State will pay a lot of attention when East Carolina's good in football. I guarantee you, UNC and NC State will watch UNC and NC State fans will watch an East Carolina football game. I don't know that they've ever watched a Charlotte football game. They don't care about Charlotte. The same with App State. UNC, NC State, and East Carolina fans will pay attention. We all right now pay attention to what App State does in football. You know, they had their game with Marshall had 1 million viewers. I bet a lot of those were East Carolina fans. Nobody watches Charlotte. You notice Florida International didn't get in. They're in Miami. Why didn't we bring them in? Because no one cares, and at least they did realize with that school, no one cares. I don't understand it. You could make an argument for Charlotte if their basketball program is what it was in the '90s, but even their basketball sucks these days.
Baseball program.
Yeah, good baseball, but a lot of teams with good baseball.
Oh, let me give you 2 examples when you look at markets. The first one I think of is Temple, right? So you have the Philadelphia market, huge market. If you've ever been to a Temple football game, it's abysmal. There might be, and this is a reach, 4,000 people in the actual seats. I've been to East Carolina games at Temple where we actually had more fans than Philadelphia was able to deliver for those games. And they actually had some pretty good teams those years. So that's one market. And another example is when you look at Rutgers going to the Big Ten, right? Rutgers was a program that they never had a rich football history. They were invited to the Big Ten. Obviously, they're in New Jersey, which is the most densely populated state in the country, but they were supposed to deliver the New York City market. They're about 45 minutes outside of Manhattan. They were supposed to deliver that market. They don't deliver that market. And how has Rutgers really done in the Big Ten? And this is nothing against Rutgers. They're actually a very good program, beautiful facilities. They have a nice crowd on game day. But do they really belong in the Big Ten?
No.
I don't think so.
No, the Big Ten added Rutgers to get the Big Ten network on New York City cable stations for revenue. And they don't. Well, here's the thing: nobody in New York City cares about college football. Just like nobody in Philadelphia cares about college football.
That is very true, Kyle.
They want to watch the Eagles, and nobody. And here's the thing about Charlotte: yeah, there are people that care about college football in Charlotte, but they're East Carolina fans, they're Appalachian State fans, they're NC State fans, or UNC fans. There are no Charlotte football fans. The people, the locals in Charlotte who moved to the area are Panthers fans. Nobody. I just don't see the appeal of Charlotte. And the same with North Texas. You know, we're ragging on Charlotte because they're the local team. But what's the appeal of North Texas? We already have the Dallas market. Why did we add North Texas? Go ahead.
Speaking of that, SMU was understandably pretty pissed off about that, and I heard from pretty reliable sources, to say the least, that SMU and maybe Memphis and Tulsa were possibly exploring Mountain West options. We'll see if there's anything to that.
No way Memphis will do it. That would be a stretch for Memphis to go to the Mountain West. And Memphis has all but been told they're going to get in the Big 12, so that would be idiotic.
Right.
SMU has a good
SMU. The reason I get it, the SMU to the Mountain West, I get it. The problem would be the same thing with us to the Sun Belt. They would be losing money on TV, and they would have to pay $10 million exit fee. But here's the thing: if SMU is that pissed, where they're telling you we're going to look at the Mountain West if you add North Texas, then why the hell would you add North Texas? If you wanted another Texas school, UTEP's out there. Go get UTEP. They're 6-1 this year anyway. So I don't get North Texas ad just as much as I don't get the Charlotte ad. We have the damn Dallas market. North Texas is not a good football program. I mean, it's idiotic. That's another one. Explain that to me. And then Rice. We talked about it earlier. Beyond academics, and yeah, Dave, you mentioned they're in Houston, but they don't deliver the Houston market.
No, I know.
They're the second smallest. I believe they're the second smallest school in FBS in terms of enrollment after Tulsa.
Yep.
Yeah. So, besides having great academics, which doesn't benefit athletics at all. I mean, what good does Duke academics do the ACC or Vanderbilt academics do the SEC? I never understand that. You know, this is an athletic conference. I never understand bringing in schools for academic purposes. And by the way, you know, and I know when we were in Conference USA, we could take non-qualifiers and Rice was in there, but you're adding Rice, so you kind of wonder if we're considering doing non-qualifiers or not because Rice isn't going to take them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just saying. I'm not saying that there's so many Rice fans out there they deliver the Houston market. I'm just saying the bottom line is you had that great point, Kyle, weeks ago of whether or not we would go market route or we go good football programs. And the case has been made that basically the sad thing, guys, is I don't think it's Mike Aresco. I think ESPN is saying you're going to pick these schools, and that's how you keep.
You tell ESPN to go pound sand. You say we got a contract. The contract was signed. We'll renegotiate the financial numbers, but you're not going to completely dictate who we take. We'll take some of your suggestions. You want us to take UAB? You want us to take UTSA? You want us to take Florida Atlantic? Those are schools we agree on. But our members are not comfortable with taking North Texas. Our members are not comfortable with taking Charlotte. Our members are not comfortable with taking Rice. So let's take these three, but we're going to take these three over here instead. And
how about?
Go ahead.
No, you know how it's a great idea, Matt, is that Kyle and I agree on 100% of the 6 schools that he mentioned earlier. Both of us were in a 100% agreement. That's how great of an idea it is. That you take 3 market schools that we mentioned that are good, and you take 3 Southern Miss, you take Marshall, and you take App State, and so that way you solidify the football program. You get the markets in there. I mean, and look at it too. Here's another thing, guys. When we always talk about, there's been talk recently about regionalization, that we need to swap schools out of one conference to another. Look, if we added those 3, that we have those 3. When Reska was talking about rivalries, we have a huge rivalry with Southern Miss, as Matt knows very well, that participated in.
Rivalry with all 3 of those schools.
Exactly. And Marshall, all 3 of those schools we have rivalries with. So guess
and
what?
Marshall and App State have a rivalry. Marshall and Southern Miss has a rivalry. Memphis and Southern Miss has a rivalry. That's the black and blue game. Memphis and Tulane has a rivalry. That's the Southern Miss and Tulane have a rivalry. That's the battle for the bell. Memphis and UAB have a rivalry, particularly in basketball. I mean, there were so many things that could have been done that it's idiotic. The decisions, like I say, when you look at them, there's no way you can spin it. Because here's the thing, guys, and we're getting repetitive at this point, but here's the thing: if you said we want the Charlotte market, well, Appalachian delivers that. Plus, they deliver good football. North Texas, we already have the Dallas market, so that was really perplexing. That may be the most perplexing one of all. And then if you wanna add Rice for academics and the Houston market, I guess okay, whatever. But North Texas and Charlotte to me is just it's just so stupid.
Let me ask you this, guys. Aresco, we're running out of time. Quickly, Aresco did not obviously say that we were not going to expand, so there might be 2 more teams potentially. So if there was 2 teams you could add right now, who are they? I'll start with Kyle.
You want to go to 16? I don't think it'll happen, but either 2 of the 3, Appalachian, Marshall, Southern Miss, 2 of those 3.
Okay. How about you, Matt?
I would say Appalachian and a Boise State, out west, I'd like to see.
That's not going to happen. Boise's not going to come. They had their opportunity and they told us no.
Wishful thinking, right? Wishful thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm going to say this real quick, and I know, Bubba, I'm sorry, but the Mountain West commissioner, you're a joke to think that you're a great conference. Let me tell you something. The only reason those schools stayed and they didn't come to the American is because the Pac-12 is going to need schools in a couple of years, and that's why they stayed. Is they're hoping they can get into the Pac-12. So don't fool yourself.
They kept their conference together. They're the best Group of 5 conference now. So, good job, Craig Thompson. I'm not going to talk crap to him.
Hey, I'm saying it's great right now, but don't beat your chest too quickly, because in a couple of years you're going to be we're going through this again. But anyway,
I don't know why you're mad at him.
I'm not mad at him. I'm just saying it's funny how he's beating his chest when
I don't blame him. Look, we came after their schools and we didn't get it done. I'd be pissing on us if I was him. We went after their schools, couldn't get it done, and look at the mess we put together. I'd be pointing and laughing.
Bubba's got a before you get in trouble, a pic of the hat, picture of the hat to promote. We have an established 1932 hat.
Look at that beautiful hat.
Very nice.
Look at that hat.
Look at Bubba. Tell them how they
fucking Connecticut.
Tell them how they can get one, Bubba.
Bubba, you got to send some of those up to me, buddy.
Definitely will, Matt. Everyone that's seen this logo so far has loved it and appreciate everyone's support. Probably already delivering at least about 15 to 20 next Thursday to the South Florida game to various people. And so if you'd like one, there's a very small order placed for this initial batch, but if you're interested, you can always email us thesportsobj@gmail.com, or you can just reach out to us on our Facebook page, tweet at us on Twitter, or message us on Instagram, TikTok, wherever you follow the show, and we'd love to place another large order for these EST 1932 hats in the coming weeks.
Yeah, established 1932 is the brand. That is the logo. That was an idea. I had discussed with Bubba. Bubba loved it. My buddy Mark Connor came up with that design. And it's a cool design, and if some people stare at it and don't quite understand what it is, so if you look at it and go, that's cool, but can't quite figure it out, that is 2 anchors in the shape of football, and obviously you can figure out what the rest is.
And by the way, Bubba's going to be in the old Harris Teeter parking lot from 4 to 6 selling the hats out of his trunk on Thursday night, right, Bubba?
Yeah, sure.
Dave, you probably shouldn't say that, because that sounds believable.
Dave's trying to run business away.
Apparently.
No, I'm not. It looks great. I can't wait to get one myself. We've got the Pirate football playback. We're going to have sometime on Saturday evening, I assume, guys, or hopefully we'll be going to the park. Maybe we could do it at the parking lot of the speaking of parking lots of the airport, as the Pirates get a big victory like Semenza had, all those that you had thousands of people waiting for you when you're tired and you're walking off that plane. It felt pretty good, didn't it, buddy?
Man, let me tell you something. As just, I was very fortunate to be at ECU during those days, but coming back to that airport when there was a crowd waiting for you was awesome. So I can just tell, like, all the ECU fans listening out there, that means a lot to the players. So if we're able to get this win, I would definitely encourage them to show up and let them know how you feel about it.
Yeah, this is definitely an airport
game. Let's go around the horn. Let's do Houston predictions, Bubba, and we're gonna get out of here. I promise. Who wants to go first?
I'll go. I've been calling the upset for a while. I was bullish on it early. I have pulled back since. Don't feel great about it, but I'm not going to say something's going to happen and then sit here and when it comes time, change my mind. So I'm going to say the Pirates get it done. We start off red hot. Houston comes out, in a fog from a long layover. I'll say that the Pirates find a way to win it, 34-31.
All right, I'm going to be negative Nelly here. I don't believe it's going to be a 14-point game. I think the Pirates, unfortunately, have fallen short. 31-21, Cougs win it. Hey, I don't want to. I hope I'm wrong. That's just a gut feeling I have, and I hope I'm Matt Simmons. I hope that I have egg on my face on Saturday night. That'll be great.
I hope so, Dave. And unfortunately, I'm right with you. I got to say, Kyle's been all over this game for weeks. So I give you credit, Kyle, for sticking by ECU on this. You've had a good feeling on this one for a while. But when I look at this game, I feel like our biggest weakness is Houston's biggest strength. And that's our offensive line and pass protection versus the Houston defensive line, who has done a fantastic job generating pressure and sacks, which doesn't necessarily bode well for the Pirates. I always have a hard time going against my team here, but based on the offense and what I've seen in the red zone, and it seems like our inability to sustain drives, I'll have to say Houston 34-24, and I hate to do it.
Me too. All right, that's 2 votes for Houston, 1 for ECU. Bubba, are you going to make it a tie, or are you going 3-1?
Unfortunately, I am with you and Matt. I do like the Pirates, and I like the Pirates and the points, but just some of those numbers we've already referenced with the third down conversions and inability to score enough touchdowns in the red zone, and Houston being very good in those areas. I think we'll come up a little short. I think we'll be competitive, but I see us losing by about 10. And
all right, so
obviously it goes without saying. Hopefully Kyle's gut feel that he's had for weeks now, and get another win and get to within a win of bowl eligibility.
Oh my God, that would be fantastic, guys. Well, we had a great show tonight, fellas. Appreciate y'all very much. We'll look forward to the game on Saturday. Hey, how about that ESPNU 4:00? And that'll be great. Also, our friends on radio.
ESPNU 4:00, and then Thursday night we're on Big ESPN. And one thing, guys, and I'll shut up and I promise we can go. Next Thursday night for the blackout, they're pushing really hard for students. They're going to try to break the all-time student record. I think 11,500. Calling it a Boneyard Night or something like that. Night of the Boneyard. Kind of a Halloween theme. Fortunately, as we sit right now, 60% chance of rain. But let's hope that changes.
Talking about Saturday's game very quickly, Johnny Gardner chiming in on Facebook talking about Dana Holgerson. He said the skullet is going down. Obviously referencing the curly mullet or skullet, as Johnny puts it, of the Houston head coach. But Dave, before we wrap this up, obviously you referenced the playback. The Pirate Football Playback is brought to you by Kevin Walker's L&K Custom Homes. Give Kevin a call. KK can be reached at 336-688-8461 or via email at kwalkerkev@aol.com. If you're interested in building a home, looking at different options and what possibilities you have, give Kevin a call. He'll be glad to sit down and have a conversation with you. Also, I'm very appreciative to Tim Neal of Surveillance and Security Solutions. Tim can, meet pretty much all of your security needs. And so give him a call at 716-490-4503. Again, 716-490-4503. Then you have Josh Smith with ENC Restoration. The former Pirate defensive lineman does an excellent job with pressure washing, deck, fence, and concrete restoration, as well as a variety of other things pertaining to businesses or homes. So give Josh a call, 252-241-0812 if you're in the market for any of those services, or you can go online to encrestoration.biz. And then Last but certainly not least is our most recent sponsor to join the program, and that is Eastern NC Lawn Pro. Skylar Garner, and does both residential and commercial lawn care and landscaping, serving Pitt, Lenoir, Greene, and Wayne counties. Give Skylar a call at 252-933-3555 or email him at easternclawnpro@gmail.com.
Thanks very much. And if you want to sponsor us, you can get up with us, the sportsobj@gmail.com. thesportsobj@gmail.com is how you can sponsor and be a part of the program. And I tell you what, guys, as Matt knows and Kyle and Bubba, in 2022 is going to be a huge year for the Sports Objective. We'll just leave it at that right now. Guys, thank you so much. Looking forward to a big victory on Saturday. And Matt, like I said, man, you need to go ahead and start driving now because you can be at the airport by Saturday night. I know it won't take that long, but
if we win, I'll be there. I'll be there, brother.
All right.
I'll find a
guys.
way.
And sounds good. We'll have some pirate beverages. We'll see each other on Saturday night. Late, I take it. We'll figure that out. In the meantime, we'll see you next time. And as always, guys, go Pirates.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? This is Udon Cheek, assistant track and field coach at East Carolina University. You are plugged into the Sports Objective podcast. If you are a fan, you are plugged into the right place. And if you're really a fan, you will share that link. My heart is purple and gold. I'm a pirate down to my soul. And I don't back down, not at all. Find out when the cannons explode.